So, so now in to discuss about LWC, we have certain rules to follow. The first, very most important, is zoom in. Okay, naming convention that we need to be more focused here. Okay, you will not allowed to write the naming convention however you want it. It should always follow camel case. You know what does it camel case means? First letter of a word should be small. Should be small. I mean, for example, if I say my first example, if I say my first example, this is my code. How the naming convention should be my first example or my first example. So from this, the understanding is that your first letter of a lightning component should not be capital always. Clear? Rule, the basic rule. Now we'll try to, I don't want to put a more theory here. We'll know the rules by based on our practice. So let me create a branch first. I'll create LWC Reactive new branch from main. So I'm creating a branch from main, which is like a LWC React new. Control Shift P, SFDX, create lightning web component. Create lightning web component. And I'll say reactive fields. I'm see here I'm following a camel case, right? Reactive fields. I created a component. It have two things. It doesn't have CMP file. It have .html and .js files. Okay. It will have .html and .js files. You can see here. What are the components that we had? .html, .js, and .metadata.xml. In Lightning, interfaces will go inside metadata.html. It will not go inside here. Okay. Clear? Okay. So if I go to metadata.xml, we have is exposed, we have false. Let me put true. But how can I get to know whether I wanted to expose it not? So for that we already know we have component library, right? Developer.docs component library. In this, if we go to LWC, developer document, instead of component reference, go to developer document, developer guide. In this, create lightning component. HTML template, CSS, reactivity, lifecycle, field properties, component accessibility. Yeah. In component accessibility attributes, we will be having 1 minute how to navigate. I'm also new to this. LWC to display as record page. I'm also new in the documentation. I don't have proper hands. Let me look into it. Load a record. Just I wanted to see. Okay, load a record. Dot metadata file. Where is dot metadata? HTML only everywhere. Dot HTML. Metadata. LWC metadata.xml. LWC metadata.xml. XML Lightning configurations. Oh, here we have API version, capabilities is exposed, and we have targets. Whether you need to target as a Lightning app, Lightning home, record page, utility bar, flow screen, tab, inbox, community page, and these are the targets we have availability. Okay. Okay, I think that I'm bugging up. Okay, HTML targets. I need to set targets inside targets. Value. Use separate target config. Okay. So then I need to set targets. Target value lightning app page or lightning app page. Okay. And then HTML I'll say testing. Just I wanted to configure first. Deploy it. And ease exposure should be true if we want to enable this as a exposable. Record home page. Okay. Let me go and see. Once it get deployed, let me try it out. Again, guys, this is the first time that I'm taking my LWC session, so please bear some of my confusions. Even I'm not too much strong in LWC concepts, okay? But I'll ensure that targets is not available. Hell. Okay, let's do one thing. How to enable LWC for app page. App builder page. Okay, I think we got an answer here. Targets, target. Oh, I need to use target is middle, not a value. Got it. It should go middle. Control X. Oh, targets is exposed. Correct only. Yeah. Deploy to source. Active contains empty target. Is not a valid targets. Okay. Target empty. Oh, it should be out. Looks I got it. I cracked it. No issues. I know the documentation, but I know how to place it. I never focused on this till now. These are the interfaces that we don't have any interfaces. And Lightning component, how many Apex classes you can able to import in Lightning components? You can able to access only one Apex class, right? Controller, but in Lightning web component, you can have multiple, more than one Apex class. It's okay to have. As I said, bear with me for some time. So I'll ensure that I'll get the right topics only. Let's see. Next, and do we need this way? Let's keep this way only. Or we can see right sidebar, finish. Custom manager. This is manager package. Reactive fields. We got it. Right. So I added it here. Save. Activate it. And also lightning tips and tricks active for all users. Save. Finish. Back. Now we'll have this application to go ahead. LWC tips and tricks. So we got here, but CSS remains same. Guys, CSS remains same. Here we don't need this file anymore. We are done with that. This is just configuration. So what I'll say dev. Here I can say class equal to slds-card. But Aura component, what is the starting header? Aura colon component. But in this case, what is the component structure it is showing? Template, right? Yep. So, and here also we have card. Okay, it's the same as component library. So the same component structure, but instead the syntax is instead of colon, we'll be using, where is this card? We'll be using hyphens. Basic card, and here you have an example. And the important part here is that you can update the code here. Card body component. Instead of card body, you can update the code. That flexibility you have. Like GHT lightning hyphen input value. You can see, right? In demo also it is updating, isn't it? First name. And this is my this one. Okay. Here, simple example I can show. Let's say label first name, and I don't mention any value. I'll say the same thing. I'll copy paste, and I'll copy paste. I'll say that last name. Oh, duplicate component, compile error, last success output. There is invalid syntax, non-void HTML tag. LIGHT lightning input value. This one correct. Oh, forgot to mention. Here you don't have a single line. You need to close in a different line only. Like Aura, you can't do in a single line. You have to close in different line. You got it? First name and last name. So I wanted to display output. I wanted to display output saying that full name. I wanted to display my full name. The full name is a combination of this one and this one. So let's say we have a complications called on. There is an event called on change. Whenever there is a field change, I need to call my event saying that handle changes. Handle changes. And value, and I'll also say name equal to first name. Here I'll say name equal to last name, and I'll use the same method. I'll use same method. So you really don't want to do everything inside your Salesforce nowadays. You can have this one and you can build your code, you can do a copy paste once if everything is looking good. So now handle changes. I'll go to my handle changes. In here, you need to write everything inside this import extend action only. You'll not able to write outside. So this is my method, isn't it? Function of event. This is my event. So ambiguous on change. Oh, here I need to use exclamatory mark. You don't want to use any exclamatory mark. Why is ambiguous? If you want to make valid, you should remove the surroundings. Oh, when you are mention any method, so you don't want to mention this. I forgot to say. So you don't want, if you use a curly braces or any action, you don't want to mention any double quotes here. Clear? So in Lightning, what you will be writing, you will be putting like this, and you will be saying that C dot and your action name, right? C dot action name. But here it was updated just action name. You don't want to put everything else. So once this is not ambiguous, then we have event. We have event. In event, we can get like constant, which field I wanted to identify, event dot target. There is a target option we have dot based on what you need to get. let's say I'm updating my component from the first name. My target is this one. And in this, what is my first name? So I'll read my name. So now I got it. So if I say if field equal to first name, and I'll say now I need to save somewhere, right? So let me define few variables here. You don't have any attributes in HTML file. You have to write all your attributes within the JS file only. And the same way I'll define my last name and I'll define my full name also. So now last name equal to, what is my last name? How to get my last name? Event dot target dot value, right? Event dot target dot value. Okay, this is first name. Now the same thing I'll say else if my field equal to last name, then last name equal to this one. So once everything is done, either you can say, let's say full name equal to, you can't use this like this, you need to put this dot always. For your all variables, for all your variables, you need to use a notation called this. So once this is done, I'll say this dot full name equal to this dot first name plus space plus this dot. Even here you are intelligence, right? Here also you have intelligence. It's not something there only you have intelligence. Here also you have intelligence. Once I have done, I'll go to my HTML. Instead of this, I'll say full name. All I mention like this. Even for a variable, even for a method, everything is just like our braces and that name. Now if I go, now it is updating, isn't it? Encode thing. As per the expectation, this is working, isn't it? Let's say, hey, no, I wanted this to be a capital letter. I wanted this letter to be a capital letter. Then, I mean, always I need to convert this as a uppercase. There is a way that you can do this way, like, but dot trim, we have a method. Dot trim is a method, and dot to uppercase. Dot to uppercase. Now what happens? All your entries will be capital. See, right? You got it. But this is one way of assigning. So when you are changing this, you are changing within the handle change event. We can also have a different statement saying that get property. Get full name. We can define a property instead of defining a variable something like this. Instead of defining a variable something like this, we can say full name. We can use a get property return. Now what happened? Now you are not doing any extra assignment within the function. As soon as the variable changes, this will become reactive. Reactive in the sense it will get update values automatically because we are returning it always. So now you can see the difference. The functionality remains same, right? There is no difference here, isn't it? So what I do, once I have my example ready, I'll do a copy paste. I mean, because this is a simple one, I just wanted to show it's not something you have to modify here only. You can also modify there. And you can go reactive, you can copy, you can paste to your code. And in Salesforce, right, in that, what I'm saying, in Lightning Aura components, where data is like a two types of binding. One is two-way binding, one is data one-way binding, right? So if you use exploratory mark, it will bind. Whenever you change a value, it automatically reacts. If it is like this one, then it will not react, isn't it? Yes or no? You understood like explanatory mark and hash, you know the difference, right? So here in Lightning component, do we have that way of assignment like two-way data binding or three-way data binding or one-way data binding? Here I'll say a good thing. Now we got it properly. It's okay. But let's say if I had another input field here, let me write another input field. What I'll write here, Lightning, or we also have LWC input, Salesforce, SCS. Okay, I didn't install that. Lightning hyphen input value equal to, instead of value equal to, I'll say this reactive field first name. Okay, label equal to update first name. Lightning hyphen input. Now tell me, my expectation is that my expectation here, if I update my first name, if I update my first name, I'm expecting my full name should update with the whatever I am updating here, isn't it? Refresh. Now I'll say update first name I got here. It's okay. Say Deepak Lakshmi. Now I wanted to update my. Here I got my Deepak. That is good. Now what happening? But if I update here, it is updating, right? But if I update here, is there any update happening? So from where this field is updating? So the fields will be one-way assignment. Any changes in the JS file, it reflects in HTML file. But any changes in the HTML, it will not reflect in JS files. Clear? It means that LWC operates in a one-way data binding. One-way data binding. Okay. It will not. Any changes in the HTML, the system JS file will never react. Any changes in the JS file, it will react. HTML will react accordingly. Clear? So let's say how to make this to be reactive. How to make this to be reactive. So to make this reactive, either I need to use a class or either I need to use a ID. Let's say data hyphen my hyphen ID equal to, I'll say update first name. I need to have like this. So once I done, I need to have a function saying that on change or like here we have a new, right? On click, I'll say update name. On click equal to. See, you know how to handle with on change now. We'll see how to handle with on click. Okay, that's what my concern here. I can use like a handle changes method only that I can update easily. But this way I need to go with a different approach. On click off button, how can I read my input values? Okay, update name. This is my action. I'll go and I'll define my action name here, update name, and I'll define it as a event. And how to get event? Let's say constant first name equal to const const f name equal to this dot template, this dot template dot We have a query selector. Oh my God, this got updated everything. Okay. Instead of document, all you need to pass your query selector ID. So what is your input tags here? Lightning input, isn't it? So your input tag, I'll use my double quotes, I'm familiar with this. Lightning input, and then square brackets. Inside square brackets, you need to pass your property. What is your property? Data hyphen my dot hyphen is my property now. Save. Okay. Somehow it is moved to new place. And then data hyphen my dot hyphen ID inside equal to what is my ID that I am using here? Update first name. And then once I have this, and I need to put after selecting that component, I need to say value. Clear? This dot template dot query selector, and then you can use lightning comma input field. Otherwise, let's say I wanted to go with a last name also update. I need to update my last name. Value reactive fields. I'll say last name. Instead of hyphen ID, I'll say class here. I'll say class last name. I'll say my class last name. Here I'll say value. This is clear, right? Any question here? Okay. Now, here what I'll do, constant last name equal to this dot template dot again query selector. How many classes I have query selector with dot first name, last name? I have only one class, isn't it? So I can use query selector dot. We need to use dot for a class name always. Remember, we need to use dot for a class name, and I'll say dot value. Now I can say this dot first name equal to f name. This dot last name equal to l name. Deploy. First we use lightning input tags. First we use a component tag with the data item ID. ID of a component in a query selector. And the second time we are trying to do with a class name also. Any question? At least in this example, you have to remember the syntaxes. That was the main concern. So there is no two-way data binding. Everything, if you want to read the HTML changes, you have to write in functions for sure. Okay. And all your attributes will be defined within the JS file. You don't define any attributes in the HTML file like Aura component. Okay. Update first name. Here also update first name I'm using. I'll say update last name. Deploy. Now I'll say Deepak Parag. I got it. Now I'll say Avinash and I'll say update name. We got updated, right? But here why it is not updating? Because here it is not updating. At least this is updating here, isn't it? But it is not updating. The reason behind, here we are not using any first name and last name in the values, right? Now how can I do it? How can I do it? Now what I need to do, the same thing I need to do, the same thing I need to do. Instead of reading a value, now I need to assign my value. Now I need to assign my value, isn't it? Control C, Control V. Now, instead of that, I'll use my name. We can also use this way. It's not just always ID. You can use name also, whatever attribute you needed. Name, first name. So this is an example I'm showing. It's not something always you need to use ID. You can also use name tags also. You got it? The square brackets is nothing but your property of that element. Value equal to lname. You know how to read a data and you know how to write a data now, isn't it? Any question in this? There is no other way of reading a data and writing a data. I mean, if you define a variable, it's a secondary. If you don't define any value variable, then you have to write a data manually. That's what we are doing explicitly. We are writing a data. Now we'll go and refresh. In this case, we are using value equal to first name, value equal to last name. But here we are left it as a blank only, right? So we need to update back. That's what we are doing in this JS file. Here we are doing the same. We are assigning the values back to the system. Let's say Deepak, Lakshmi. It got updated. Let's say this is my not my first name is like Lakshmi Deepak and last name is like Inkurthi. If I update my name, oh no, this is not getting updated. This is refresh. The error is organize the problems. Okay, deploy. Salesforce CLI. Deployed, right? Update. Oh, name is not picking up. Sorry. I need to check it out then. Data hyphen my hyphen ID. You can use that also. That's okay. But this case, I don't know what happened. First name. You can use even any attribute. It's not just like ID, but might be I'm doing something wrong. Okay, data hyphen hyphen ID, my dot first name. Let's say last name. I need to check it out. Like, we can. I think that we can able to use any of the properties, not just on like ID. It doesn't really make any difference. But I need to check it out. Oh, if I want to use any query parameter, then you should have like a parameter called data, HTML5 attribute. You remembered in Lightning component we were discussing about data. Hello. In HTML5 attributes, I sent you an email also related to that. Data hyphen record ID, data hyphen name. Yeah. So if you are wanted to use a query parameter, either it should be a class name or HTML5 attribute. This is a HTML5 attribute. I remember now. So I'll show you even that. Let's say where was the code we were using, like lightning strips and rigs. This is an example that we were using. Not here, I think. We use it in developer console only. Let me go to developer console. I'll make a recall. Developer console. We created an app for HTML5 attributes. Basic data binding, no. Open resource, star, app, HTML5 database attributes. Now you'll remember it. Now we use something like data for name, right? On click of display name. So this is how we display it. We have a list of data. On click of one, we should know how what is what, right? And we also discussed how to define a aura attribute tag, I mean data hyphen tag inside a buttons. Will you able to recall a Prarak? Huh? Or we need to go back again? Okay. So we need to have this data HTML tag parameter. That's what our expectation here. And while in mention also in this example, I mentioned very clearly that whenever you are using data parameter, you should not use any capital letters, right? The same thing here. Like whenever you want to do a query selector based on input tag, you should have HTML5 attributes defined. This is nothing but your data. And because this is writing my ID, technically how it looks, this one, my ID. For LWC, the capital letter will be replaced with hyphen small letter. As soon as it identifies small, it means that that is a capital in a background compilation. Now the same thing, let's say test, update name. Now it's getting updated, clear. Any question? Now let me do one thing, commit it, reactive fields, upload it. Any questions?